Nap time.
The sun has just barely broken through the early morning mist as Lady Diana Kendall stands on her balcony and thinks the same thought she thinks every morning. Another day of just going through the motions of being alive. Another day without Lord Kendall. Another day without his laughter, his wise counsel, and his corny jokes. There were so many things they had agreed upon, but especially having a second library in their bedroom. So much easier than having to go downstairs to the main library. Everything she saw, everything she touched, reminded her of her loss. Walking through the grounds of the estate, she remembers how they used to ride horses together. She on Jasper, her favorite steed, and Lord Kendall on Atticus. Now, Atticus was gone as well, having gone off to war with his master. If Lord Kendall still lived, she hoped that Atticus was still with him. Her reverie is suddenly broken when a bright blue cloud appears on the ground, and with lightning reflexes, Lady Diana pulls out her trusty sword, her constant companion. Stepping out of the blue cloud are two little gnomes. One is holding flowers, and the other is holding a wand? They look harmless, and they start to talk. The gnome holding the wand introduces herself as Glinda the Good. They tell her about the evil that is taking over their beautiful hamlet, Bigglesnort, and ask for her help. They had heard of her exploits as Di, the ranger, and hoped that she was the one who could rid them of the evil. Diana ponders the request. The quest would take her away from her estate and her people, but it was a worthy cause. Walking slowly, as she contemplates the task ahead of her, she realizes she must prepare wisely. She hadn't looked at the remains of her prior life for a long time. She had been willing to give all that up to be with Lord Kendall. Now that life is calling her back. Her emotions come flooding in, her broken heart overwhelms her, and she gives into her sorrow, allowing the pain to wash over her. Wearing her old ranger clothes, Lady Diana remembers how good it felt to be a ranger. Pulling her trusty sword out, she feels the weight of the weapon in her hand and weaves a few practiced arcs of the sword. Taking her bow out, she spends time practicing hitting targets. Old muscles that hadn't been used for a while complain, but it feels good. Her senses start to attune once more to everything around her. And yet, thoughts of Lord Kendall are never far away. She still remembers how they had argued about where to place these steps. No, enough, enough! She pushes those thoughts away and continues practicing. It feels good to hold the bow in her hand and draw the string back. Having that level of control came back easily to her. Diana felt ready. Somehow, this felt right. She knew she had to help the gnomes. Walking back to the castle after spending hours refreshing her archery skills, Diana hears an unfamiliar sound. A woodpecker is hitting a tree so hard that all the other wildlife in the area is fleeing. She follows the sounds through the forest and comes into a clearing. She thought she knew every inch of the estate, having tended so much of it, with Lord Kendall by her side. But, to her surprise, she sees a woodpecker pecking away at a tree stump. Startled, she drops her bow on the ground when she sees eyes on the tree stump looking at her. The tree stump is smoking a pipe. The scent of the pipe tobacco reminds her of her father. And then the tree stump speaks. He introduces himself as Barkis Aurelius. This was magic she hadn't realized existed. He tells her of the fate of the gnome hamlet Bigglesnort, and that the gnome she had spoken to earlier had told him to expect her. Barkis tells Lady Diana that her sword and bow will have no power in the world she is about to enter, for she will travel through a portal to the gnome world. She hides her sword and bow behind Barkis and prepares to travel to a strange new realm. Then he proceeds to tell her of the history of Bigglesnort and the gnomes that live there. It's quite a story, but the most important part is to stay away from Mrs. Biggles. That lady sounds scary. Barkis sends her to the marketplace to a stall she had never noticed before. How could she not have noticed it? It is quite small, and the pie lady, Betty, is tiny. But boy, what a salesperson she is! Every other sentence is, "and buy a pie." But she shows her how to travel to the next portal. And she gives her a magical weapon, a frying pan. Diana holds the frying pan in her hand and wonders, what has she gotten herself into? All those hours of practice, and now she is going into the unknown with only a frying pan.